It is 12 minutes after 7 on this beautiful Tuesday. It's the 27th of January. We woke up to 112% humidity and like 30 degrees. But that's why we love KZN. So we do not complain about the weather. It is what it is. Very excited to have these two and Steve from the Battliers in the studio with us this morning. Also, hello to Andrea and to Jono who are with us as well today. His name is Ivan Carter. She is Brooke Carter. They are like whole online celebs. The conservation world's like daddy and daughter duo. And this time yesterday, they were just, cruising in a small plane with a lion, not in a crate. Very much alive, but just a little bit asleep. Welcome. Ivan and Brooke Carter, thank you for being with us.
No, awesome to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you. This is amazing.
No, this is amazing for us, you guys. Really, you kind of live the lives that people watch online from all over the world. And when people knew we were interviewing you, just everyone's response is, can you even believe this is what your life is? It's like a combination of a Disney and a Mowgli and all the things together, hey?
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I started when I was very, very little. Me and my brother used to take turns going on adventures with my dad. And I think it actually was a lion capture when I figured out that I just wanted to do it as well. I wanted to do it.
Whoa, that's amazing. How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 14, turning 15 in July.
So how long have you been doing this career already?
I've been doing it since I was 9, but I started traveling with my dad since I was about 5.
Okay, we've got so many questions for how this is rolling and how this is going. But for those of you who don't know, Ivan Carter is a conservationist, a guide, and a TV host, as well as an advocate. Zimbabwean born, so one of our neighbors, professional wildlife guide. One of my favorite things about this as well is that you speak about how sustainable, well-managed hunting and wildlife-derived revenue can fund anti-poaching. And I'd love to talk about that a little bit because I feel that a lot of people jump onto a bandwagon before they have the facts and then really understand what's happening. It's a lot of the people that will eat meat but don't want to see a face. Do you know what I mean? And then Brooke, young conservation advocate and content creator. You also have your own show, Content Under Wild Wonders with Brooke. You've been doing this now for like 6 or so years. The two of you, dad and daughter duo, let me tell you, if I spend a lot of time with my dad, like in the kitchen, it's all good and well until someone throws a bowl of pasta. Working with your dad, Brooke, are there ever moments when this is like, Dad, stop it, man? Or are you guys very professional all of the time and you can be very honest with us?
Yes, there's definitely times when, we have to take a little bit of a break, whether it's in Madagascar and I'm hangry because we haven't had food for a little while, or whether it's also in Madagascar when I have to go into a bat cave. There are definitely some times that we have to take a break.
Okay, so next time you two are in Madagascar, we'll know that there's going to be some tension.
But she's still little, so I can still bully her into everything I need.
And Ivan, for you, obviously, I think it's every dad's dream that their child will walk in their footsteps. How did you begin this journey?
I think one of the most important things is it's all very well doing conservation today, but who are we going to hand the torch to? And I really, at a deep level, believe that the youth of today are the conservationists of tomorrow, and yet all of our efforts are towards adults. There's no legitimate, full, compulsory conservation teaching in our schools. Can you believe that? And yet what could be more important than a healthy planet? Because without a healthy planet, the humans go away too. And so really, having the opportunity through Brooke's voice to nurture her skills online and through social and through television and media, and have her, if 1% of the people who follow Brooke have a little interest and a fascination in how our ecosystems work, why that little bug does what it does. It's not about the elephants and the lions, it's about a healthy environment. And so, I think the youth of today, if we can inspire them, I think that that's a really, really cool thing.
And when it comes to when you talk about the youth for today and being inspired, obviously as South Africans, so worldwide, the thought of a monkey, a rhino, a giraffe is so wow. But you know what it's like, the novelty of things wear off. And we are not just in South Africa, but right now we are in KZN. And we've got places like Mkuze really close. We've got the likes of the Big Five that will take a couple hours and we are able to see it. And we've almost become conservation tired. We're so tired of hearing about the rhino and the pangolin and the everything. Do you think, a new way we can look at conservation to reawaken people, to remind everyone that yes, it feels like you're constantly being reminded, but there is a reason why. Because I heard someone recently saying, oh, but are the rhinos' populations up? I mean, is it that much of a deal anymore? You know what I mean?
I think that fatigue is a really big problem. And I think that there's the biggest issue with conservation is everyone thinks someone else is going to save it. Who's that someone else? Who is it? It's all of us. I mean, we sit here, Aliwal Shoal is right off the coast here. Most people who are walking around the street out the window right here are terrified of sharks.
Yeah.
Let's get them out there. Let's get them learning. Let's get them understanding what it's really about. And I think that people want to hear hope. People don't want to switch on the radio and be sad at the end of a message or a story. They want to have hope.
Yeah.
And so let's not talk about rhino poaching. Let's talk about all the bright stories and the bright lights and the bright hope. And so that's where the kids are.
Well, this is true here because energy does flow where focus goes. So if we're focusing on the positive conservation stories, I think more of that will start to happen. Were you going to say something?
I just think that, we do some of the, you have the little bit that is the sad part, but that kind of encourages people to watch how we're saving them. So like the rhino poaching, like it's awful and it's terrible, but everyone wants to see what we're doing to help the rhinos. So they'll keep watching and see that we're doing a relocation or something with a rhino or a lion or anything like that. So I think it's important to have that little bit, but it's also important to have the follow-up question, like what is happening? What are we doing about it?
So before we get to moving of a lion, because this happened yesterday, where is this accent from?
I was born in America, and then I actually had a very privileged childhood. We moved to the Bahamas when I was about 6 months old.
Oh, yeah. But don't take it to Madagascar, Dad. Okay. Yeah. Please can tell us about your horrific childhood, yeah?
It was absolutely amazing. I just fell in love with the ocean, and it was just so cool because we were right on the ocean.
Wow.
And so after school we'd go and we'd fish until it was dark and then come back with our cousins and have a huge barbecue. It was so fun.
And where are you based now?
We are in Hilton.
Okay.
We used to be, our first place was White River, and then we moved to Hilton when I was about, how old do you think I was?
Like 7, 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
So ages ago. You were just 14.
Ages ago.
So yesterday we see this, and a big shout out as well to the Battaliers, and Steve's here from the Battaliers. The Battaliers are also, they are volunteers, they're conservationists. Some people are giving up time, whether it's pilots and or their planes, and they're doing remarkable things for conservation. So if you do feel like this is something that's talking to you, just look up the Battaliers. Really a remarkable group of men and women. And if you're wondering, why does that sound familiar? Remember, those were the bowl sacks we gave away in December. And I know that we want to giggle when we say it every time, but they're the best bags, strong zips.
The best bowl sack.
The best bowl sacks. in the holidays we had where you could win one for you and your friends. You had to nominate someone that you thought was so cool, they just need a bowl sack in their hand. I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's perfect.
So yesterday we're moving a lion.
So what is the most incredible thing is foundationally, conservation takes effort.
Yeah.
It takes money. It takes but it's all glued together by this really cool thing. And that's passion.
Yeah, man.
And so really when you look at what it takes to do a lot of conservation, when you've got people saying, well, I've got this asset or that asset, you look at a group like the Battlers. What an amazing idea to take people who own aircraft and have them donate their time and hours on their aircraft. And all we've got to do is raise the money for the fuel, and you've got an aircraft to help with conservation. I mean, what an amazing thing. And an aircraft, whether it's anti-poaching, whether it's moving a lion like yesterday, it's an amazing asset that is almost out of reach in conservation dollars terms.
Yeah.
And yet when you've got folks donating that, and so the Battlers has put together what they call the Environmental Air Force, which is these people that come in and will donate their time and their aircraft to whatever Battlers deems is a good cause within conservation.
Because yesterday, could you have moved that line if you were on the road?
Well,
could it have been done via a truck?
It could have been, but it would just be a very long haul for the lion. It wouldn't be as safe. Of course, it would be much longer, and it just ups the risk of, potentially the lion even losing its life because it's under for too long, it just made it so much easier and safer. It was just amazing.
Okay, so if we could take us through yesterday with as much or little detail as you can, why was the lion being moved? Where was it coming from? Where's it gone? And does a lion, like your house cat, need to have some butter under its paw so it doesn't try and walk home? I mean, we laugh, but still, cats are cats. Everyone's moved house and a cat has gone, 30 miles back to its old house. I'm wondering, are we going to see a lion cruising?
So a lion actually will stay in one area for quite long, and then once it's finished breeding with all the females, all the other males are getting their manes and they're getting those genetics, people will do the translocation to get those beautiful genetics to a different area.
Oh.
And so that's actually the reason why we do that, because he had the most beautiful mane, absolutely stunning male. And, they just want to spread that black mane genetic to all of the other females around the area and all these other parks. Because obviously the parks are fenced, there's dangerous roads. So a lion doesn't want to go all that way when they have beautiful females right in their one place. With all their sons that already have their genetics in them. And so then that's when we'll take the lion and put it in a new place where it can have new females and spread its genetics like that.
Oh wow! So you guys are playing the football here, hey?
You touched on a little bit earlier the big H word, the big hunting word that a lot of people jump on the bandwagon they don't like. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is here in South Africa, one of the amazing models is private ownership of land, private ownership of wildlife, which has led to wildlife being an asset that is allowed to be traded like an asset. So if something has got value, it stays around. But one of the things about South Africa is a lot of these private game reserves are recovered landscapes that used to be agriculture. A lot of it was under livestock. So in order to have your wildlife there, you've got to put a fence around. So the lion can no longer live in this area, breed with these females. The young males can't just walk to another territory because it's fenced. And so all of this management at the hand of man, making sure that there's genetic diversity, all falls under this umbrella of making sure that the biodiversity is healthy in these private reserves.
Oh, wow.
And so I think that, it's such a worthwhile thing, and it's an amazing... I love the idea of a lion sitting on a citation jet, which you can't even believe it. I mean, Ace Jets came to the party and donated a jet for this. Can you believe it?
Wow.
So you're sitting there in a private jet with the king of beasts lying at your feet. I mean, if that doesn't make a statement for the battlers, for conservation, for what is right, I don't know what does,
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this question because obviously there's certain things that we don't say. But did you touch it while it was having a nap?
Don't you worry.
Okay,
that thing hardly had any fur. It got touched so much.
Okay, I was just wondering because I even said to the team last night, I even dreamt that I was walking with big cats because I was so excited for this interview. The fact that you two were there cruising in the sky with we were saying yes, it's half asleep, but it's also half awake.
So we use these drugs, and so we had an incredible vet with us, very, very good friend of ours. We've been working with him for quite a while. His name is Dr. Ryan Van Devender. And
shout out Dr. Ryan Van Devender.
And he is incredible with these cats. We can do what we need to do. He makes sure that the lion stays under, of course, for the whole flight to keep everyone safe. But the thing is every 45 minutes or so, you have to take the blindfold off a little bit and test to make sure he's not blinking, to make sure that his sensory hairs in his ears aren't twitching. And if they are, he just gives a little bit of an extra dosage. But if they aren't, he'll probably wait about 15 more minutes, or it depends on what the vet thinks of it. And it was just absolutely incredible. Just being able to work around this huge cat, you can pick up the paws. He was so soft.
Wow.
It was incredible. And just this huge mane.
What did it smell like? I know that's also a weird question, but
that is a weird question. Let me just say not good.
That's what I say.
We're talking about this giant 500-pound animal, a 250 kg animal that eats dead stuff.
Yes.
So a lion catches an animal that animal dies, its blood stops flowing, and very often everything that used to live on the animal now jumps onto the closest thing.
Stunning.
So very often, I mean, honestly, they're greasy and smelly and lots of parasites and things like that. So one does have to be careful. Make sure that you keep your hands clean and things like that, because it's not a big fluffy house cat. It's a wild animal that's living out there, and it's got its very special own wild smell. Just making sure that everything from, as you say, those practical details, like what did it smell like and was it dirty and how do you keep the plane clean? So one of the things, the very first thing we do is we buy some plastic that you would use on a greenhouse, and we line the aircraft. I mean, you've got an aircraft that's got pretty fancy people flying in it when the lion's not in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so making sure
they got tick bite fever from
that thing doesn't smell like lion poop by the end of the deal. And then, a lion poop is not a fun thing, and that is going to happen when he's under anesthetic. So, basically, you've got the traveling vet, Ryan Van Devender, who's like the anesthetist, making sure that everything's good, making sure that his vital signs are correct, because, it's a delicate thing. You're keeping an animal under for all of this time.
Yeah.
And so, you've got the capture process. So he was actually captured in December and put into a boma where it would be easy once logistics happened to catch him again, and also as a good settling time. He was then caught out of the boma and put in a vehicle and driven for an hour to the airport.
Wow.
All of that logistics. I mean, you're loading and offloading a 250 kg creature. Then you've got to get him through a little jet door. And I don't know if you've ever been in a private jet, but it's got a tiny little door.
Not recently.
Not recently, just last weekend.
Yeah.
Last weekend to the Gulf.
Just to golf and to Woolies.
But the King of Beasts got the most beautiful royal ride, but trying to get him in the door of the airplane. So you're trying to lift a 250 kg floppy sleeping animal, keeping him safe and so on. And it's always pretty funny when you've got people helping, because often the head will get in a position where his breathing will make him growl, and
it jumps. And you can't. There was a guy yesterday. He was trying to put the paw like inside of the crate, because obviously once you've landed in his other spot, you have to put him in a crate. You wake him up and then you take him to the next boma and then release him into the boma for a few days. And there was this guy, he was trying to put the paw in, and he kept on trying to put it in, but every time he'd like lift up the paw and try and put it in, the lion's head would come down a little bit, which would cause him to give this like kind of growl, and he'd like immediately jump away and drop the paw.
I think we all would.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
But really, when you think about it, all of this is describing one little event that in the calendar of conservation is like a pinprick.
Wow.
This stuff's happening all over. And, there's a great quote, if potted plants gave you Wi-Fi, every kid would want one. It's a pity they only give us oxygen.
Yeah. Preach.
So,
Tell me Tuesday.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Really, we take it for granted. I mean, I'm looking out the window here at these green trees and the birds and the this and the that. People take it for granted.
Big time.
And I think that people are fatigued of hearing the bad news.
Yes.
But if we can get people passionate about conservation and passionate about, doing these things. I mean, we were just talking the other day. Woolies has got a whole deal. Instead of the My School deal, it's a you can choose a charity. And Bateleurs is one of the charities that you can choose at Woolies. It doesn't cost you a cent, and for every 100 Rand, they get a Rand. And so you can imagine if that goes into, if everybody here was thinking, how can I support our environment as they're going to work, as they're going about their lives, I think that our environment has a much safer and healthier future. And if we've got kids being brought up to be fascinated by bugs and beetles and sharks and lions and tigers and, polar bears and all of these things, our planet's going to be far better off. But today's kids, they worry about likes, they worry about what they're going to post, and they worry about their cell phone battery, and that's it.
Do you guys have a little bit more time? Can we quickly play news and then come back? Do you have some more time with us?
Yeah, I think we do.
We have to get onto a plane fairly shortly. So, yes, we do have a bit of time.
Like 10
10
15
more
minutes
minutes will be good.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
perfect. All right, we'll go quickly to news and then we'll come back. Did the coffees arrive?
No.
Really?
We'll talk faster if you give us coffee.
I just poured.
Is this what you want, by the way? Is that what you want?
Yeah, amazing. No, amazing.
Don't stress about it, by the way.
No, but I'll just...
If you see anything, you want to answer to, you're welcome to. If anybody's asked anything on
There are 2 questions there.
They want to know how you deal with schooling.
How I deal with schooling.
Yeah.
The question is, how do they manage her schooling with all the conservation? Does she homeschool?
Good question.
So, do you want to type a question in there, or do you want to speak a question?
No, just
No, well,
when you go back on air. So you know,
we'll ask you the
that's
same question. Please don't stress about it. Leave it alone.
No, I said they made it then.
Yeah.
So I'm just checking.
This is cool that you just ride on the street here.
On the N3, if you're on your way to Joburg, we have a truck obstruction on the left lane just near Lions River. Stationary taxi on the N2 southbound at the ramp from Umgeni Road, that's the M17. We have an incident on Bluff Road and Chamberlain Road, Bluff and Chamberlain. In fact, traffic is extremely backed up. I don't know if it's because of the traffic lights or the incident, but please approach with caution. And Queen Mary Avenue and Bartel out in Durban, we have an incident that has just happened. And just remember, out in Phoenix, Trade Center robots are not working, and that causes a major delay. So if you haven't left, please do right now. For anything else, please let me know on WhatsApp 072-330-337 for PlayZN Traffic. It's Thunder Rose.
Okay, it's 2 minutes short.
Stephanie will be here now. Yeah, I could speak to you guys for hours and hours. I really would like to touch on the hunting side.
It'll be a deep one though.
Okay.
Because you need time to explain it well. Otherwise, you can't. That's not a one-word answer. You know what I mean?
This is true. Because I think you know Karen from Manyoni.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with her, and understanding it from that side.
Sustainable use is a better way to say hunting. Because if you're utilizing something sustainably, it's going to be there forever because it has value.
Well, this is it. But also, she would say,
But we can come back and do one specifically on that if you
look,
want.
if you are open to that, I would love that
there's no
whenever
problem.
you're around.
there's no problem.
And even if you can't
Because
come
I think
to
that can
Umhlanga, we
overshadow
do a video
this.
call. Okay, yeah,
Because it becomes such a big topic.
Okay, perfect.
Couple questions on the TikTok.
I love answering questions.
Goodie. I just thought maybe if we did it like that, it would be easier than having to cut it. Nicely done.
There's one question, Brooke, what do you want to do for a living?
I think she's doing it.
Exactly. Well, the follow-up is conservation or veterinary. Veterinary.
I don't know if I can be a vet.
There you go. So conservation it is.
Conservation it is.
Okay, hold on. You belong to me, you're my sweetheart. You belong to me, you're my sweet. I'm just waiting for an in. An in! It's a little reggae version of Oh Hey Sublime Reggae Kings, just taking our island girl back to an island. This is Radio PlayZN. We are live right now with international conservationists. They're a dad and daughter duo, Ivan and Brooke Carter, and we're just talking about the fact that just yesterday, a line was moved. However, not only is this a great feat for conservation, but it's just, like you said, a drop in the ocean of all the amazing things that are happening. And I think one of the big takeouts from the first part of the interview, and I know we don't have you for very much longer, but if we start focusing on the positives, because we are fatigued from hearing the negatives. Oh, this is so sad. Oh, another pangolin's gone. Oh, no, this. We want to hear the good news stories. And we got a few questions for you, Brooke, from on TikTok. How is it that you still are able to do your schoolwork?
So I do go to normal school. I have my own friends, you know, it's normal everyday school. But the only difference is that I have one teacher that she kind of helps me get all of it together. So I have this like sheet of paper that I have to have signed by all my teachers giving me permission that I can go.
Okay.
And it has a date and, you know, my name and all that stuff, and I have to have that permission because otherwise then I can't go.
All right.
And so I'll go to my teachers and be like, okay, I'm going to be gone for this long from this day to this day. Can I come back tomorrow? Because, you know, they might have to sort something out. And I'll collect all the work. So then I'll have like one workbook that I take with me and maybe like an English book that I might have to read for like a English listening thing or something. And if I have a test over that period of time, it depends on what kind of test. If it's a written, I write it when I get back. But if it's like a listening comprehension or something, the teacher will video call with me, and then I'll just do it when I'm wherever I am when I have the time.
So usually it's the learners have to ask the parents for permission. Now it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Come on, you must have that one friend who's prepared to give you, say like, this was on the test.
So I don't, I mean, I'm not prepared to ask
Dad's
that question.
Okay, all right, okay, cool.
Because next thing you know, the teachers say, oh no, she's taking advantage.
Which, you know, it's the SA way, we love it here. And then someone else saying, I know you're already grown up, but when you are more grown up, what would you like to do? And they said, if you had to choose between conservation and veterinary, which lane would you be in?
You know, I've gotten a little bit more brave now that I've gotten older on giving shots to animals, but I don't think, first of all, I don't know if I'd survive that much college.
Okay, I hear you, girl.
And second of all, I don't know if I'd be able to just go through all that stuff, because, you know, as a vet, you have to see some pretty awful stuff.
Yeah.
As a vet, and I think I'd rather just, you know, just be a conservationist and just help instead of do like all the gory and stuff. Like, I'll help do it, and, you know, if I have to, I'll get in there.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to be my whole life.
It's better when they're asleep and you can just touch the paws. So, Dad, if there's any experience perhaps that stands out for you, whether it was you alone or you with your daughter, maybe one of the most incredible, and I know that you've done so much, but the first thing that comes to mind, if there's any story you would like to tell us of something that is just like, wow, that you've been involved with.
You know, I think for me, it's always comes down to one thing, and it's seeing the wonder in a kid's eyes. And when you, as a father, can see one of your kids that is as passionate as you are about a particular thing. And, you know, I think one of the combinations of fear and wonder that always sticks in my mind, we were doing a shark episode in the Bahamas. We had about 80 or 90 sharks, including about 4 really big tigers below us. Brooke got in the water. They were all swimming
on
around
purpose.
the boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was quite heavy current, and she put a little bit too much power into her fins, and every one of those sharks came straight to the top, and she looked at me as if to say, Dad, what is going on here?
What are you doing?
Sure,
but, you know, 15 minutes later, she was lying on the bottom with these, I mean, those are big sharks. They're 16-foot tiger sharks.
You do realize as a dad saying 15 minutes later she's lying at the bottom with the sharks. It makes you sound like you're coming from a bit of a dodgy family. And any of the closest calls you've ever had?
You know, I think that everybody always asks that question, and I think that a close call is always a perception rather than a reality. Some of the closer calls, you know, moving animals, you get in the way of something wakes up when it's not supposed to. But as long as you're taking those steps practically and pragmatically and surrounding yourself with wildlife professionals, you know, you really do limit that. So I hate to say it, everybody will say, man, we looked at your videos, that was close and this was close. You go, no, not really. you know, it's in a day's work doing conservation work or guiding or so on, you know, walking with elephants in mana pools or, you know, swimming with sharks in the Bahamas. It's the same sort of thing. You with people who know how to do that stuff. We just actually got back from Florida where it wasn't a scary or a dangerous thing, but in the winter time in the States, all of the manatees, which is similar to dugongs we have here in Africa, all come to the hot springs. It's crystal clear.
I've never even heard of a dugong. A dugong? Is that an animal we have?
It's an animal. It's an animal.
Has anyone else heard of a dugong?
No.
So it's this giant thing. It looks like it looks like a sea potato.
They actually do call them sea potatoes. They're literally, and they just bob around, and they have these.
I mean,
cute
they're the size of this table.
These cute little flippers, and they just just walking along the bottom, and they have this huge
paddle tail.
Yeah, it's like a huge paddle that they just use It's like a little mermaid, but it's a sea potato.
A sea potato.
And
Delicious.
so anyway, you know, they gather there in the winter time because of the hot springs, and you can literally swim amongst them, and they're completely harmless. They don't see humans as any kind of a threat, and the wonder of seeing an animal that big that can't hurt you, doesn't want to hurt you.
Wow.
It's an amazing thing, you know. And so as you explore these corners of the earth and you realize that the wildlife and the biodiversity on our planet is just spectacular. It deserves our greatest effort. It really does.
I know that you two have got a flight to catch. There is a massive conversation that needs to be had, and that conversation is hunting. May I ask you, please, if we can book that in for another day, please, if you ever
Absolutely.
have time.
100%.
The other thing is, before I let you go, in a world where everyone is desperate to the point that you will buy followers and likes, the two of you are kind of internet famous. I mean, you're sitting at over 500,000 followers just on your Instagram. I'm not even sure what your YouTube and or your TikTok is like. And your dad is at 777,000 followers on Instagram. Now, does it make him a cool dad? Do you feel famous? Do you walk and do people stop in pictures and all that kind of thing?
I personally, I don't find myself famous. People will go by, hey Brooke, look, that girl is the famous one in the school. I'll be like, no, I'm not famous. Okay. I just like my job.
All right, so you're humble and famous.
So, seeing my dad do his things, it's a good goal.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't do it I don't do it just for the followers. You know, I don't even know how many followers I have. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome. Half a million people follow you.
You let the secret out.
I'm not allowed to look on my page.
Oh, sorry.
I don't have any Instagram on my phone or anything like that, because, you know, it's just
a distraction.
Really bad
See,
stuff.
fundamentally, I think that social media is not a healthy thing at all. We get addicted to it, but I use it as a conservation tool. Get people engaged, get it out there. We don't buy or purchase any likes. It's all completely organic, and you can see by the number of comments, and she always gets way more comments than I do. But we have a team that runs it for us, and they do a spectacular job, and you know, you see people from all over the world engaging in the realities of conservation. And I think one of the most important things you'll notice about both of our pages, it's never look how cool we are.
Yeah, of course.
It's always projected on the animal or the ecosystem, because they are amazing. Whether it's a spider, whether it's an elephant, whatever it is, they are incredible things. And if we can use our social media to just get a little bit of interest from the general public in some of these cool and interesting creatures, I think then we're winning, you know.
Yeah, and I just want to say to you both, thank you. Just thank you for what you're doing, because, and I know that you're enjoying what you're doing, and obviously this is your passion. It's what the world needs. You can make some money hopefully doing it, but more than that, there are going to be people that are born way after we've all crossed over that are going to be able to experience places and see animals and things because of the work that you are doing. And I know that you are so humble, but I really want to say thank you. There's a lot of young girls that are so worried about shoes and hair and face and boys. And thank you. And thank you for being such a remarkable dad.
Thank you.
This is a very cool thing to see, and I'm so grateful that we got to meet you. And I know you've got a plane to catch, but you're welcome back anytime.
Well, thank you so much. We've got a few more conversations in the future for sure.
I'd love that. And again, to the Battliers, thank you for everything that you do. You guys are remarkable. This is Radio PlayZN. It's 7:46. Good morning.
Beautiful.